Hello, hello. I'm going to back this up a little bit so you can see my stove top there. Hey, I'm Lisa with Replenish HQ, where you can learn how to live the best life possible. And so you can go to that website anytime and check out any of the things that we're discussing here and find more answers for them. You'll also find the Replenish Me cookbook there as well. Today, we're going to be making a frittata, which is an Italian dish actually. And it's basically all it is a crustless quiche. So if you're gluten-free, that's super happy for you. Then you don't have to worry about that at all. There's no crust. It's also a frittata in Ecuadorian. And basically all it is a simple egg dish. That's what we're making. We love it because you can repurpose so many veggies in your kitchen. It's super easy and fast to make. And it's a great way to incorporate a lot of vegetables so kids will eat them and adults will eat them, and so you can just kind of slowly, if you're not a big fan of vegetables, you can kind of slowly start adding more and more vegetables to your dish to incorporate more of them. So it's very, very healthy. It can be a vegetarian version with no meat. That's how we're making it today. Or you can make it with sausage. I'll get to that in a minute when we talk about the actual recipe. So you can switch it up there and keep it vegetarian. It just has eggs and cheese. It's not a vegan dish. So sorry, vegans. There's nothing I can do about that, but you can omit the meat. So I want to, first of all, if you didn't see my lovely apron that my friend Lori Kessel made me, I am so grateful for that. And you can't really see it very well, but it says Replenish HQ. It was a nice little gift she gave me. So got a lot of comments on that and how super cute it is. So thanks, Lori. And thanks you guys for jumping on here live. I appreciate having you. So I also want to thank you for your responses. I had asked a question about, do we want to do just basic cooking classes, or do you guys want more of the food value and nutrition and the whys? And I had a really good friend say, I also want to know, not only do I want to know how to cook them and what's important about the food, but that your must-haves in the kitchen for you. So that was great feedback, and overwhelmingly, what do you think the response was? I'd love for you guys to comment in what you think the response was. Were just a cooking class or cooking class and nutrition combined? Well, overwhelmingly, it was both. Everybody wanted both the nutrition, the food value, and the cooking. So that's what you're going to get because that's what you asked for. So today we're going to be going over the benefits of This can get really confusing. Free range, you see, cage free. You're going to see all different things written on your eggs. You're going to see white eggs, brown eggs. What the heck is up with that, right? So the color really just is the chicken. It's the breeding of the chicken. That really doesn't have a whole lot to do with the actual taste of the egg or any of the content of the egg. It's just the color of the chicken. White chickens lay white eggs. The other colors lay brown and some green eggs. But what we're going to specifically talk about today is the free range aspect of that. So chickens really, as you probably know, were meant to just roam freely out in pastures and nature so they can eat bugs and get sunshine. Well, conventional farming for chickens keeps them in little tiny cages. So they drop their egg, it rolls down the thing. If you've ever watched any of the vegan movies that are anti that type of farming, with good reason, because it's cruel and inhumane the way they treat chickens. So when you're buying free range, this means that at least the majority of their life, they are spent out open. Not necessarily. I mean, there's all these technical things But in a perfect world, they're out on property somewhere and they get lots of good sunshine. You'll be able to tell how much sunshine they get by how yellow the yolk is. If you get really pale yolks, that means those poor chickens were not outside hardly at all. The really dark yolks means the chickens had some actual sunshine and are getting really good things to eat. So you also want to see on there, see this organic. That's really important because the chickens, that's what they eat. So they're not fed any GMOs. They're antibiotic free because they pump chickens full of antibiotics because they're living in those tight spaces and they get sick all the time because that's not the way they're meant to live. So your chicken that you eat, if you're not buying free range chicken or free range eggs, chances are if they're conventional, they've been pumped full of hormones, they've been pumped full of antibiotics and awful feed. So you're actually ingesting all that. It doesn't go away. So you want to buy organic, free range, and there was, because the free range is packed with nutrition. So 2007, there was a study that showed free range eggs contain a third less cholesterol. So see, that our eggs get a bad rap with cholesterol. That's because it's the conventional farming method. And then they have a quarter less saturated fat. They have 2/3 more vitamin A and 7 times the beta carotene of a conventionally farmed egg. 2 times more omega-3s, 3 times more vitamin E. All this is because we're treating them the way they were designed and created to be outside and eating bugs instead of in little pens. And so that's super important, and it all gets in us because we're eating the chicken, we're eating the eggs, and so we want the best possible egg. And I know a lot of times people are like, well, organic's expensive. Free range, when it says that, it's expensive. Well, the deal is these are like 40 cents for an egg. And so maybe you're going to eat 2 eggs, 80 cents. That is not an expensive meal. So really, you got to think long term. Buying things that are not organic, free range, long term, it's going to affect your health for sure. And so you're going to pay in costs of going to see the doctor and stuff. So you pay now or you pay later. Have you ever seen that movie? It's called Temple Grandin. I believe it's about the lady with the cows, and she realized how stressed the cows were because of all the scary things the cows go through before they get slaughtered. And so she came up with this whole method to keep it more peaceful. That's all because that stress in that conventional farming actually affects the meat. It affects the egg value, that constant stress that the animals are under. So treating them better actually makes the eggs and the meat better. If you haven't seen that movie, Temple Grandin, watch it. It's a good movie. So let's see. The best way, honestly, to get your free-range eggs is from a farmer's market. If you can find a farmer's market that carries them fresh and they've been farmed on a small piece of property, those are the ultimate best eggs for sure. But, do the best you can with what you have. So, and eggs are a great source of protein, 6 grams per egg. So they're just like packed full of nutrition and wonderful. And they're the main part of this frittata that we're making today. Another great complementary thing to go along with this frittata as we get into this is this green drink right here that I have. It comes in a little packet like this, and you just add water to it. The reason why it's so complimentary for this is because it's loaded with chlorophyll, so you're going to get all that good green. That helps the body eliminate toxins. It's alkalizing, so it's going to promote the overall feeling of well-being. It's high in trace minerals. You guys, we don't get enough trace minerals in our diet. And so this is a great way to get trace minerals that support circulation, respiration. They actually even support nerve health. So great way to get your trace minerals. Great for athletes for recovery. It restores the minerals that we sweat away. and it also helps oxygenate the blood. Just short little story on that. Seriously, this drink a couple times when I've been hiking has saved my booty, because it literally gives me that boost so I can breathe in altitude a couple times, different places that's happened. So it's pretty awesome. It also supports a healthy stress response, and it's loaded with adaptogenic herbs that help the body maintain energy level throughout the day. So if you want to know more on that, you can pop over on Replenish Me, check it out. There's a whole store over there. You can get all the information you need on that. So now we're going to get cooking. And I realized as I'm looking out here that I don't have my eggs. So hang on one second. I'm going to go get my eggs. I have those eggs, but I don't have my already pre-beaten eggs. That's kind of important. So what I said about this meal that's so great is repurposing. So what I mean by that is sometimes you make like a lot of onions or bell peppers or things like that, and you have leftovers. You just want to throw them in there. And whatever other vegetables you have, I'm going to turn this on medium. So whatever other vegetables you have in your refrigerator, you can pretty much add just about anything with this, and it tastes great. So those are just these little bell peppers, the little organic bell peppers. So I turn that on medium. You can use butter, or you can use, I used avocado oil in here to coat the pan. I really love using the cast iron. We can get into that in there's a whole nother reason why I love the cast iron. But it's great with heat, keeping heat evenly. Plus you can take it from the stovetop into your oven, which that's what we're gonna do with this. So then I had some potatoes that I made the other night for dinner. This recipe calls for 1.5 cups of cooked vegetables. You have total freedom to do kind of whatever you want in here. So I'm sure that mine will have more than 1.5 cups of vegetables, but that's just because I love a lot of vegetables. It also calls for, let's see, 1/2 cup of diced potatoes. This obviously is not 1/2 cup, but you have freedom in the kitchen. I know that drives some people nuts when I just kind of cook by the seat of my pants. I am not a chef, so we'll just make that really clear. I just love really good food, and I love helping other people cook really good food. You don't have to be a professional. This is like the easiest recipe. You just need eggs and some vegetables that you have in your house. So these have already been cooked. All of this is cooked so that we can go through this faster. Obviously, if you are making this and your vegetables aren't cooked, you're gonna need to cook your vegetables, because you want them all, we're just kind of reheating them a little bit. You don't even have to spend a lot of time reheating them. So we've got our onions, our bell peppers, we have our potatoes. So this has more of a Spanish feel than necessarily the Italian or the Ecuadorian, as we learned. But you can make it whatever kind of feel you like. This is in the Replenish Me book, this recipe, if you need it, and you can find that over on the website. So this is organic baby spinach. Please buy organic when you think about lettuce and spinaches. So I just throw in, spinach really shrinks up if you're not familiar with that. So hopefully you can see this pan and see that it's pretty full of vegetables at the moment. So we're just gonna let that spinach sit in there a couple minutes, because once it starts to heat up, it's really gonna shrink. I'm losing spinach all over the place. So this obviously already, we learned about the eggs, right? The value of the egg. This has got so many antioxidants in it. Remember we talk about a rainbow of color all the time, incorporating lots of color? This has the red and the orange and the green going on in there. The spinach is already starting to soften. So then if you go to the book and you see on the book, I kind of did this pretty little design on the top of it. That's not necessary, obviously, but it's super fun. Some other things that you can throw in there that is made out of avocado, what it looks like on the top. Some organic tomatoes are really good in there, mushrooms. If you eat cheese, you can mix up your different kinds of cheese. But what I did for the design on the top is I just sliced the small little tomatoes in half. They look so pretty on the inside. And I did a little design, which I'll do on this one so you can see it if you don't have the book yet. So you don't have to cook it a long time because they're already cooked. You're just kind of reheating them a little bit. You're going to set your oven for 350, so your oven's nice and warm. And then I have here my 7 eggs that are already all whisked together. So you want to make sure you whisk them up. And you can add, I had already put salt and pepper, but you guys can comment below if you know why we use the pink salt. I would love to hear from you. Why we use the pink salt as opposed to the white salt. And you can put some pepper in there. Salt and pepper to taste. So I'm going to bring this over so you can see what the spinach looks like at this point. So you can see it's very limp. So we're going to put in our eggs. At this point you can actually turn off the heat. So you just put in your eggs that you already have all whisked up. That's 7 eggs. So it's 1.5 cups of vegetables, 7 eggs, and half a cup of potatoes. And so I like to push the spinach down and not have it sticking out of the eggs because it dries out a little bit. Just a side note. So it's starting to look really good. If you love salsa like we do in this house. Hey Lisa, Mary, it's great to have you on here. I saw Lori on there earlier and Sue. It's great to see you guys. So I just take salsa. The recipe calls for 1/3 cup of salsa. Like I said, I kind of eyeball everything. And you guys have freedom to do that. That's how you learn what you like and what you don't like if you haven't been cooking long. I know I have the gamut on here. I have a lot of people that cook often, so they don't really need that kind of help. But I know there's also people on here that haven't cooked, that even, like some of them don't even know how to cook. So you have freedom in the kitchen to experiment. I give you permission. So you just put the amount of salsa. The recipe, like I said, calls for 1/3 cup, but you just put the amount that you feel like you would like in there. Okay, so we did not, it calls for 3 sausage links. If you're just getting on here and you missed the beginning, we're keeping this vegetarian, so we only are going to have just the eggs and the cheese in there and no meat. If you want meat in there, cook your sausage up ahead of time. Slice the sausage, 3 of them, put them in there with the vegetables when you're cooking the vegetables. And then when the vegetables get warmed up, you pour your eggs over there, you put your salsa on there. Now we're gonna add cheese if you eat cheese. This particular cheese is organic raw. I don't know if you can see that. Grass-fed, there we go again, with the grass-fed with the animals, because we're taking care of our animals so they produce better, more nutrient-dense food. So the recipe only calls for 1/2 cup of cheese, but I just kind of do it by sight and put a little on there, but 1/2 cup is probably just about right. You can do that to your taste or your dietary needs, but the better quality animal products you buy, the better it is going to be for you. So here's how I did the little design if you want to be super fancy. Somebody's asking a question. Looks delicious. Oh, yay! I'm so excited. She got the cookbook and is excited about it. That's super fun. I'm hearing really, really good reviews. If you want to check out the reviews on the cookbook, you can go over on the Replenish HQ. But super fun. I love that people are loving the recipes in there. And it's a real deal. It's a downloadable PDF. But it's on special right now for $9.99. So there's, I think, 75 recipes in there. It's a really good deal. So here's what I did. I sliced the avocado while it was still in the avocado. Let me do that because I'm not sure how many people know how to do that. So you take your avocado and you just slice down like this. You take the half that doesn't have the seed and you just slice down like that. Now my daughter prefers to put the avocado into the egg and mix it all in there, which is great. That's super yummy too. But I'm going to show you how to make a design on top so you look like a master chef. So we're just going to put a few eggs. This is a tomato. We're going to put a few tomatoes in the middle. And then we're just going to spread out, and I'll bring this up close so you can see it. We're just going to spread out some pieces of avocado. And you still could put your avocados and tomatoes in there and then have this on the outside. But isn't that super fun? Can you guys see it? There's just a little super fun design on there. So what you're going to do now, if you want to use a pan that, the cast iron's great. You want to use a pan that you can use on your stovetop and then put directly into your oven. So that's what we're going to do with that. We're just going to bake it about 15 minutes because everything's already cooked, right? So the egg is going to cook really fast, especially in the cast iron. So you're just going to put it in and you're going to wait until it looks nice and brown and bubbly on top, and that's how you'll know it's finished. And let me see. I think we're good with all the ingredients. See how fast and easy that is? And I just have to tell you a funny side note. And my friend Renita's saying she loves her cast iron. I don't know how people go without cast iron. It's such a good all-purpose thing you can have in your kitchen, but some people just don't have them. So you could do this. You could make all the ingredients in a pan. If you don't have a pan that goes directly from your stovetop into the oven, you could cook all your ingredients, then put them in a glass dish, pour the egg over, then put it into your oven. So this is just nice because you're only going to dirty one pan. So that's a huge side note. So anyways, this is just funny. You guys that follow me know I compost. And I did do a little video that I'll have to post later about my new pipes that I put in the backyard that I'm composting in. But see what this looks like. See, here's the eggs, eggshells, coffee grinds. There's onion peels in here. So one time I had a friend over and I had this sitting out on my counter and I was making food for her and she kept looking at that and she goes, I'm sure what you have and what you're making is really good, but do we have to eat that? So that always cracks me up. Every time I see my compost, I think of my friend saying that and thinking, oh my goodness, no, that's compost. That's going out in the yard. We're not eating that. That's the scraps. So that's how I use my scraps. And you guys, to find out more content, you can go visit the store on the Replenish HQ website to get your recipe book, to find out more about that green drink I was talking about. And that is it for our Foodie Friday today. Please comment your questions. Share these posts. I love when you guys share and spread the love, getting the word out that it's easy to eat, it's easy to be healthy, it's fun. And so I always appreciate you guys sharing these on your own page and liking and commenting. That's how Facebook gets the word out. So thankful for you guys being on here today. I hope you have a marvelous rest of your day.